when the original Luciferians come here to the Earth from Venus to incarnate into selected bloodlines that weren't allowed to intermarry with the general population of the Earth then. They had to be very pure for the Venusian souls to incarnate. At that time then, that's whenever that was, millions of years ago, and finally come down through the ages and civilization after civilization. The last one seeming to be Atlantis, just a popular name. The real name isn't important. Human beings then were less evolved, which shows that their program of the psychological maturation, spiritual evolution of mankind was successful. When they incarnated, their job in society, they had only two roles: the priest class or the king class. And both classes, the people of slaves, the priest class, the masses are mind slaves, and the king class, the masses are tax slaves and slaves to the military. So those Venusian souls basically were dictatorial. They were one man with great power, and originally, in the beginning, they were benign dictators, like Plato's vision of utopia, where you'd have these philosopher kings, wise rulers. Well, I think that was actually true long, long ago. Later, of course, some of those Luciferian, Venusian, advanced souls, they became corrupted because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And then they became bad leaders. They weren't benign dictators anymore. They were just dictators, become men like the Chinese emperors, Genghis Khan, Stalin in Russia. These are the modern day leftovers of something that was actually from millions of years ago. However, it did help originally the terror species, the earthlings, to evolve, and they were very happy with their leaders because their nature then was like sheep or dogs. They just follow, they believe. And you can even see today people love a leader, whether it's Republican or Democrat, or a Christian leader or Muslim leader, even celebrities, rock stars, movie celebrity, TV personality. People just love to follow a sports hero. It's all about the dumb sheep who follow leaders And it's so deep in their nature that even today it's a behaviour pattern that doesn't stop. Any leader is enough. They don't need special qualities. Sometimes just be handsome, like a movie star, or look good in tight jeans, like a rock star, or have big muscles, like a sports star, or say sweet words, like a religious leader, or actually just say angry words. Some religious leaders, there's many kinds of flavours of leader for different leaders for different flocks, different leaders for different kinds of dogs. So whatever kind of flavour you like, there's a leader out there and you can follow him. Slowly, after a long process of evolution, psychological maturation, people are becoming cynical, more individual. Individuality is still quite rare in the world. Even people who think they're individual, 90-something% of their mind is not individual. Like, take for instance a punk. He wants to rebel against society. So he becomes a punk or a heavy rocker. He thinks it's anti-society, anti-police, anti-authority. But he's doing it in a way that's fashionable. All the other punks have the same hairstyle. They listen to the same music. They wear the same leather jacket. So he's still conforming to a group. He's still belonging to a group who follow punk bands, who believe in punk philosophy. There must be some philosophical punk leader out there. So it's all fake. They can't see their own ridiculous fake rebellion where they're just change group. Instead of following this group, they're following the other group. But it's still a group that's controlled, fashioned. There's no individual thought in here. He's still being a sheep, but a different flavour. The real truth, of course, that the ultimate truth, spiritual reality, is that each person is their own God. That's like the final realization that the bad Luciferians, the bad Illuminati, and also the devil, they want to hide from each person here on the earth, distract them with anything, entertainment, fun, sex, drugs, just working all day to pay the bills, TV, debt slave, wars, worry, responsibility, anything that keeps them distracted from the ultimate truth of their own divinity. That's the ultimate realization. Now, so democracy is good in that democracy is the beginning, rudimentary start to the end of dictators, the end of bad Luciferian dictators who still control the world today, along with the devil. They're not so obvious now, they're more subtle, they're more smart, sophisticated. But the sheep, the 99%, they're a little bit waking up, claiming their human rights, although the concept is wrong. It's all about give me, give me, give me. The government has to give me this, the government owes me that. So actually they're becoming servants of the government again, slaves of the government again. Even human rights becomes another instrument of the dictators to control the 99% of sheep. Oh. However, the general idea of dictator down and democracy up is the right direction. Not because democracy is good, but because the end of dictatorship is good. So it's the beginning of a long process. And that's why we can see for the first time ever in human history, this never happened in Atlantis or any of those previous civilizations, that there was democracy. Democracy. It's a new idea. And it spread quickly throughout the world, the idea, although in the real world there's nowhere has democracy. Of course, democracy needs an informed mind to make good choices. So we also see something else in the world today is universal education. So that's encouraging, although of course it's government supplied education. So although they're learning math and history and science and self-expression through art, it's all peppered with, infiltrated by, corrupted by some government propaganda. It's not very obvious in the Western system unless you think about China or North Korea, and then you can see it easily in their system. Well, they look at us and, well, I'm not sure they do. But the same process, but more sophisticated, takes place in the West. So even education becomes a way to make the people mind slaves again, without them even knowing, and they think they have freedom of mind. But when you talk to the people in the West, in America, the vast majority have no real opinion. But they don't know that. They are expressing opinions, but their opinions are just cliches, buzzwords, and repeat mindlessly, like a mindless parrot, what they read in the newspaper, what they saw on TV. Say whatever's fashionable now. PC is an example of that, isn't it? Feminism, anti-whiteism. It's all cliches. It's not real analysis, informed opinion. So even though the rudimentary beginnings of democracy and universal education, for the first time ever, are really here in the world, they are perverted by the bad Luciferian dictators to enslave us even more. So ultimately, if we want the real freedom, we have to get free from external controls of our environment and mind by only thinking for yourself. Doubt, not dictators. We need doubt, not dictators.